Hey, how's it going, guys? This is your boy Haze, and in today's video, we're going to be talking about Frosty K PvP Burst. We're going to be discussing the different variations, and obviously the reasons for those variations that we're going to be doing inside PvP situations. Now, for myself, for the past few days, I've been working on, obviously, the Dungeon Hero achievement, getting this gnarly, sick, alien-looking mount. You know me, the colors, you get blue in there, anything Frosty blue, and I'm going to be all over that thing. So, I was pretty excited to work on that. It was quite a grind with my guild. Of course, we did it with full guildies. It was super fun. But anyways, guys, I hope you will enjoy this video. Let's go ahead and jump into this. So the first thing that we're definitely going to start off with is going to be quick bursting here on the Frosty K. And obviously, we got to go over simple talents. I won't do too much explanation on that one. If you want to figure that out, I definitely have other guide videos for like basic explanations on PvP talents and things like that. So we'll go ahead and throw up talents real quick while we're making our way back there. So we're running an Unutterable Assault, Murderous Efficiency, Asphyxiate, Avalanche, Death Pact. Either Gathering Storms or Glacial Advance is acceptable for this build, but if you want maximum damage, you're definitely going to go Glacial Advance with them Obliterates. And as for the level 50 talent, we're going to be taking Obliteration. Now for quicker fights such as PvP and Quick Bursting, it is definitely safer to go down the Gathering Storm side because Glacial Advance requires Runic Power. It will give you a little bit more damage overall, but definitely requires a healer to be set up properly because you are going to be using a lot of your death strikes or a lot of your runic power either on death strikes or obviously Lichborn in the PvP fights. Now as for PvP talents, you want to get harder with your Obliterate. Necrotic Aura is definitely the way to go. It's definitely fun to use, and Radiant Arena, Heartstop Aura, so it's definitely going to be like a requirement, so you definitely like most likely want to switch those out. Chill Streak obviously is going to be a big requirement when it comes to like battlegrounds, things like that. And I'm going into explanations that I weren't originally going to go into, but I'm doing them anyways. Okay, let's get back into this and talk about burst. Okay. Alright, so quick bursting. So first off, definitely quick bursting is going to be one of the first factors we need to talk about, because when you see me go into combat against somebody into PvP, let's say a random battleground, and I'm going up against anything that's going to be fairly bursty. In a battleground situation, you're not going to have time if you don't have a healer with you to actually set up your DPS, especially if you're running with Glacial Advance to deal maximum pressure on them. What you're going to need to do is quick burst. Now, the reason why we're quick bursting is it's going to apply pressure to them and force them to play defensive overall instead of playing offensive against you, because if you're sitting there setting up, hitting them with minimal damage, chances are they are going to set up on you and they're going to nuke you. They're going to quick burst you back, forcing you to play defensive, not allowing you to actually apply your burst pressure when you need to. So that's the reason when it comes to battlegrounding, you usually use quick burst over setup burst versus CC setups inside of arena, and that's why you see me quick bursting a lot, and that's why a lot of my obliterates over like in the battleground videos seem a lot weaker than things that I usually say I can actually hit with Obliterate, because I honestly am quick bursting, which is a much weaker burst than if I were to set up burst or set up trinkets, set up weapon procs, things like that. So quick burst is actually pretty easy on a target here. Let's say I just wanted to go full aggressive on, let's say, a hunter that I snuck up behind or something, or like I'm blindsiding another class in the battleground. First thing I would most likely do is pop Remorseless Winter up front as I ran it on the target, and then I would hit Pillar. Now, kind of determining where I am, you could actually pop Pillar from further back while you're running in on a target, so you can get off a Howling Blast in the opener to grant yourself an actual Obliterate proc crit by the time you reach the target, which is going to give you a lot of opener burst and generally kind of shakes the target that you're hitting. They don't exactly expect that kind of upfront burst coming from a lot of Frosty Ks, but it is very terrifying to, get kind of blindsided by that kind of pressure. So we're going to go ahead and run in on this target. This is something I do a lot. We'd sprint in, we'd hit that, we'd proc up this damage, I'd throw in power, and I'd just slap off a big Obliterate. 5.3k, pretty big. 5.6k. Now this is not lining up burst at all. This is just going in and slapping on damage as fast as possible, trying to apply as much pressure as possible to this person without obviously killing ourselves. So that's kind of like the quick burst BG way that you usually see, like me going in, let's say that Temple of Cop Moog video the other day. I was definitely going in ham there, quick bursting on targets, getting off 3, 4, 5k obliterates instead of actually hitting for the 6, 7, 8k or even 9k nowadays. We'll get into that a little bit. My hardest obliterate at the moment is 9,880. I'm like 120 damage short of 10k, and it's actually driving me crazy, and I'm actually really excited to pick up some more gear for that. But outside of that, Your normal DPS is Remorseless Winter up. You know, you generate your Howling Blast procs off of your Obliterates, and just kind of normalize DPS. Now, Frost Strikes are really nice because they actually do the same amount of damage as Obliterate does. So realistically, if you don't have any Obliterates, you don't have any runes, you can't generate runic power for self-survivability, definitely lay in some Frost Strikes. Now, the other thing that's going to cause your Obliterates to hit harder when you're bursting like this is obviously weaving in Frost Strikes, because there is a Soulbind talent that you can get that increases your strength per Frost Strike, stacking up to 3 times. As you can see here, I'll go ahead and put the buff on the screen as I'm Frost Striking. It's called Unleash Frenzy, and it's going to increase up to 3.6%. Now, the nice thing about using Abomination Limb, obviously, is you're going to get a strength increase. The other thing Abomination Limb is going to do for you is generate a Howling Blast. Now, the nice thing about this is if you run into a big group of mobs and you throw up Abomination Limb before your Pillar Burst and Power, you will generate an instant, obviously, Howling Blast, which is going to cause your burst pressure to be quite a bit higher than if you weren't using it. So let's say there's a big AoE fight and I'm quick bursting, I'm coming in on the fight, and I'm gonna go ahead and throw that up front. Now obviously there's we're gonna get it anyway, so let's go ahead and do this. So you don't need to actually hit 3 targets, kind of like the Remorseless Winter legendary, so that's really nice. So you can run in on the target, throw up your pillar, hit up your little AoE grippy there, throw up Empower, and go straight into the burst off that Howling Blast, dealing a lot of damage. Now, obviously, like I said before, you want to be weaving back and forth those Frost Strikes to really deal that large damage up front. And that really makes Frost DK terrifying for a lot of classes, because we really don't require a lot of ramp time to deal a lot of pressure up front. And that's definitely one of our strengths, because if we don't do that, as we know, a lot of classes have a lot more healing than we do. So we definitely need them to play defensive and rely heavily on that healing to fight with us inside of PvP combat. So let's say you want to take your Obliterates to the next level. You want to hit a little bit harder. Maybe you want to get some montage level Obliterates. You want to hit people seriously hard. You don't feel like your quick bursting is getting through, let's say, the healer DPS you're fighting. The next step you're going to do is go in on a target. Now, whether or not you want to stack Remorseless or want to stack Glacial Advanced stacks is up to you on this category. But generally, you start off DPSing on the target. Now, what you want to do is line up your insignia right here. Obviously, you're going to get 33 extra stat, which obviously scales with your strength quite a bit, especially if you're using A-Bomb. Getting extra strength is very important. Next, you want to generate your Unholy Strength, which is going to give you, obviously, 15% extra strength inside PvP combat, compounding the damage that you're going to deal with that next big Obliterate. Now, once you got those procced up, obviously, you're going to go through your burst. You're going to throw out your Grippy Hands, throw out your Pillar, throw out your Empower, and then you're going to hit that Howling Blast proc and go straight into burst. That's where you're really going to start seeing your stronger Obliterates as Frost DK, when you really start getting above those 7Ks and you start encroaching on that 8K marker. It's really when you're going to see a lot more of that damage pressure coming out when you start lining up those burst talents here with Obliterate, because you really can hit fairly hard on a Frost DK. Really start getting up there in the higher numbers just with a little bit of prep time. Now, let's go ahead and get into the interesting part. Now, let's say you really want to take this crit stuff seriously. You just want to hit for an insane amount. Obviously, you're going to need your Necrotic Aura. You're going to want to try to maximize your mastery as much as possible, while also increasing your eye level as high as possible. Now, remember one thing. Something very interesting about this expansion is strength actually adds as much damage as having a optimized lower eye level stat item. So if you have, let's say, a 184 mythic piece, the raw stat on strength, just because this also has versatility on it, the extra crit is going to make you overall deal more damage pressure than if you were using an optimized lower level eye level piece. Very confusing, I know, but it's also going to be roughly the same damage, but overall it's going to give you more uptime, more procs, more crits overall, and actually dealing quite a bit more damage pressure overall on a Frost DK. Now, I am a fan of dealing, obviously maximize crits, so you do want to optimize your gear as much as possible, leaning towards your best stats. Obviously, ours is going to be Mastery Verse, which is also going to improve your overall top-end strength of those Obliterates. So let's say you want to go and just take this to the nastiest level possible with Frost DK. You just want to just drop massive bombs on other people in PvP. Now, Obviously, sticking with the PvP trinkets is a very solid method. A 1 minute cooldown, very solid. You get the increased benefits from versatility. 40% extra damage, 40% extra healing based on the amount of versatility you already have. Very nice to have. But if you want to deal a little bit more pressure, what you can do is use the inscrutable quantum device. Now, it does say question mark on use, but what it does, it increases your stats like your crit, haste, your mastery, or your first on use, giving you like roughly around 20 something percent. It's really nice to get like 520 of either one of the stats inside PvP or in PvE instances. But obviously, if you get like crit, it's a letdown. If you get haste, it'll be a bit of a letdown. But if you get mastery or verse, it's either going to be like a little bit better than a PvP trinket, or it's going to be quite a bit better than a PvP trinket. Because if you get versatility, obviously you're going to get damage reduction. You're never going to complain about a massive amount of damage reduction inside of PvP. And if you get mastery, you're going to hit way harder than you ever will with the PvP trinkets, being that it's going to grant you like 20+% mastery, and your obliterates are going to hit really, really hard. And that's how I've managed to achieve, obviously, the 9,800 plus obliterate crits that I'll go ahead and throw on the screen for you guys to see somewhere in this video. I guarantee they'll be up there somewhere. But we're going to go ahead and stick with this just so we can make it a little easier, a little bit more consistent, because that thing is sometimes I'll crit for 7Ks with it, sometimes on use it'll hit for almost 10K. It's a very interesting little trinket there. But anyways, let's go ahead and start out on this. Now, if we were going to just take all the time in the world to prep on our target, which actually takes quite a bit. Now, the one thing we need to remember, if we wanted better procs, Raise Dead, your little ghoul there, those extra hits actually are going to help you proc up more things to deal damage on the target for quick bursting. So always remember to use your ghoul as long as you're not fighting a red paladin. So let's go ahead and start. So we're going to run in on the target. First thing you want to do is hit them with some Glacial Advance to start stacking Razor Ice, because Razor Ice actually deals quite a bit of frost damage when it comes to your obliterates. Right now, your procs are not necessarily important, or keeping up your stacks of Unleashed Frenzy is not nearly as important right now. So right now, your main goal is to stack up them Razor Ices. Now remember, this is a situation where we just have a healer on us. We're in twos. We have all the time in the world to do whatever we want while the healers are, battling it out. We're keeping up a little bit of pressure here. We're hitting the target, and we're stacking up our Razor Ice. Now, after we've stacked it up, it becomes very simple to keep it up. All you have to do is use a Glacial Advance before Razor Ice falls off. And as you know, Razor Ice has like, what, a 25-second countdown? So you've got 25 seconds that you literally don't even have to pay attention or even act like this thing even functions at this point. Now, you will get a little bit of less damage, obviously, with Remorseless Winter. It's not a big deal. Remorseless Winter does quite a bit of damage if you got like the Legendary and you're socketed using your Soul Bounds for it. But obviously, we're not doing that if we're trying to maximize Obliterate damage. So at this point, we go through the same process as we did as the second stage, where we wait for our procs to line up with our trinket, obviously. And then we're just kind of waiting for, at this point, dealing, just regular amount of damage, keeping our stacks up, trying to just, apply general pressure, lining it up. And when you can do that, which actually sometimes takes a little while, it's kind of annoying in PvP if you're actually trying to line everything up. Come on, Trinket! Come on, Trinket! Yeah, it just doesn't want to do it right now. It really is just like fighting us at the moment to proc. It really just doesn't want to do it. I don't understand. Now, the one thing you don't want to do is make sure you are never runic power starved to the point that you actually can't cast a Glacial Advance if you need to. We actually got procs there. We're going to go in on the target. Let's go, big boy. Let's see what we can get. And obviously, we're hitting for 8 threes. The Quantum Device, obviously, is how you throw that up into the 9Ks, getting closer to that 10K. I'm betting next week I'll be able to push above 10Ks. I'm throwing out 8.9, 8.8. I almost broke the 9K with PvP trinkets. That would have been I think actually 8.9K is probably a record for me using the PvP trinkets and not the Quantum Device. But yeah, definitely fun to do, definitely fun to see. But definitely, guys, Glacial Advance, if you want like as big as crits as possible, is going to be the way to go. But if you're like doing Battlegrounds and you're like fighting Quick Burst and things like that, you're not necessarily going to be using that to try to overall maximize the damage. But anyways, guys, that pretty much sums it up. Now, that is kind of like the single target variation. If you were going to obviously burst with Chill Streak, you would most likely insert your Chill Streak just after Pillar. just toss that in there if you can get it to bounce. If not, just, obviously rely on your burst and your single target pressure. But Chill Streak, I mean, for every single one of those, you just kind of insert in there after Pillar. Not a big deal to throw that in there. It just consumes a global cooldown, which won't be too big. But again, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I wanted to kind of make a quick update, let you guys know what I've been up to, farming out that Glory of the Shadowlands hero to get that mount, because my guildies thought it was cool, so we went and pumped that out. So again, leave a like if you did. Let me know down below what you think about this video, and of course, until next time, if I would have used the potion, I would have hit 10K. This was your boy Hazzed.